welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 824 of the Trinity Force Podcast. I am your host, N.A. Erik, and tonight it is just me and Goose, and we're talking all things Worlds since all of that's finally locked in. And glad to be here. It's been a couple weeks since we've potted. I had some stuff going on with my back and adopted a dog, which we had to return, so had some sadness and other things like that going on, which is why it's been a bit. We had some people out of town. Bomo stepped away from the podcast as well, but so it's been an eventful couple of weeks since we last potted. But we are back, and I'm glad to be doing so, and glad to be here tonight with you, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just been working. Played in a golf tournament last weekend, which we won. Got first place.
Okay. How many other people were competing?
It was a 4-man scramble, and there was 32 teams.
Nice.
Won $1,000 as a team.
There you go. That's sweet.
Yeah.
What was the entry fee?
$40 a person.
Nice.
Yeah, quite the payout.
So that paid for
cool.
the drinks at the end of the night, then.
I actually had to drive home Sunday night.
Oh, okay.
And it was on a Sunday, so didn't get to drink too much. I had my, birdie juice. I had a couple fireball shots, but that's it.
Just enough to be able to drive, and still enough to be able to enjoy yourself afterwards.
Yeah, just loosened up. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Nice.
And then haven't been playing much league, but I'm actually coaching a competitive league team now.
Okay. So, first off, what ELO range is the team?
They are, so it's called a gold league, but since Emerald was added, you can get up to Emerald 3 now.
Okay, so I would qualify for that.
But if you were Plat 2 or higher last split, you don't qualify for the league.
Okay.
So they call it a gold league, but it's more of a Plat league now.
Sure.
Because of the changes, but no, that's been fun. I honestly enjoy that much more than playing.
Gotcha. So what about coaching, and maybe coaching this team specifically, do you enjoy more than playing?
I think it's because, me personally, and I know we've talked about this before, I view the game in a much more, broader spectrum than I do, what my hands are capable of getting me to.
Yep.
So, for the team, I run all of the draft prep. I do all the scouting. I watch, the other team's VODs that they're going to be playing that week to, tell my team kind of their tendencies and stuff like that. And then when we actually draft, I do all the drafting for them.
Okay. Nice. That's very involved then.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Is
pretty
it
fun?
Is it completely free? Do you get anything from it other than fun?
I'm just doing it. So this was the team that I played for last time when I got kicked for smurfing because they thought I was too good. So no, I just joined back with them to do the coaching. There's a prize tournament fee and that kind of stuff, but I'm just doing it because I enjoy doing it.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's fun when you give your team a really good draft and then they just dominate the game.
They fucking steamroll it, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's sometimes when you're like, oh, that draft was on me, boys. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
That's been a lot of fun. Haven't been doing anything else, just work.
Has it finally started to cool down in Missouri, or is it still blazing hot?
And no, it has not been over 82 degrees for 2 weeks now.
Oh,
We're pretty
beautiful.
well on the downhill trajectory here. Summer is hanging on. I mean, it is trying its hardest to stay, but next week I think the highest temperature all week is like 73.
Okay.
Excited.
Gotcha. So since it's now getting into fall, like I okay, if I was in landscaping, that would be my least favorite time because I fucking hate picking up leaves everywhere. And I'm assuming you're going to go
Yeah.
through giant like truckloads of leaves basically. If that's Has that started yet at all or
So
no?
no, we haven't. So what I do typically is, especially this time of year when the leaves start falling, while I'm mowing properties, I'll just swing around the house real quick and blow out the leaves and just mulch them up so that
Okay.
when we actually get to the leaf season, it's not like such a burden for me to do it
Sure.
because quite honestly, like doing leaves does not produce any money. It's more of a we do it because people ask us to do it kind of thing.
Got it.
Like we still charge for it, but it's not like we just there's not a big enough like ROI when it comes
Yeah.
to your time invested into what you're actually doing.
Right.
So
So it's something they're paying a little extra for and they like it, but it's not it's like loss leading. If you're basically
yes,
yeah,
that's
that's
the word
exactly.
I was yes,
Yeah.
that's the word I was looking for. It's just
Okay.
more of a good faith service that we kind of do for people that give us business all year. So
Yeah. Makes
I
sense.
fucking hate leaves.
Yeah. I used to have to,
Yeah.
growing up in like high school and middle school, we had a pool in our backyard, and it was one of my chores to take the leaves out of the pool, and oh my god, I fucking hated doing it, and a lot of times I didn't.
Yeah.
That was like the one chore that I was like, okay, I would tell my parents I forgot about, or just like, ooh, I have homework when I never have homework anyways to do for other things. Like, oh god, I hated that so much.
Yeah. It's fucking annoying. And we have two customers, and I do not understand why they pay us to do leaves, but we do it. They live in the fucking woods. I mean, literally, you have to drive into the woods to get to their house. And we blow the leaves away from their house, probably 100 feet in a circle. And we blow it back into the woods just so they can see their grass and their driveway and all that stuff. It is the dumbest thing. And it takes us forever out
Yeah.
there.
Oh
I mean,
my
it's like an
god.
8-hour job with like 6 people trying to get this place cleaned up.
Good god. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've heard. They're just throwing money away.
Oh, rich white people, bro, they spend money on anything. I'm telling you.
God damn it. All right. Well, I've been playing League recently. Not as much because with the stuff that I've had with my back, which is getting better, I basically like there's no pain or anything, but I get this flared up last fall, so I talked about it then. But if I'm sitting or standing for too long, or doing like activity sometimes, then like I'll feel some swelling in my leg, so gotta lay down for a bit. So that's not the most conducive to League. That being said, uh, I've played some. I played a decent amount last weekend, and then I played for quite a while last night in community night. I feel like I'm in pretty good form, and the meta is actually shifting back towards more of my play style of like bruisers and stuff out of the jungle. So that's exciting for me to like actually have a meta shift back my way because all of I guess the first half, so the first split, it was all assassins and everything just fucking running around and like, nah, it's not my game. Not interested in that. But it's better now. So my win rate is I think I got it up to 44% last night.
Oh, let's go.
I know it dropped down to 42, and then
Eric says, "Let me play Malachi."
I love playing Maokai. I played Sunder and Lucidity Boots and Shojin Poppy last night, and oh my god, my Q is like as soon as it detonates a second time, it's ready again. Like you can constantly use that shit. It's disgusting. I was surprised. I saw someone go Gore Drinker on Poppy, and I messaged them in game. I was like, I'm a Poppy main. Like, do you think this feels good? And they're like, I just wanted to try it out. It's not great. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, but yeah,
Yeah, Sojin is insane.
yep,
Well, it just whole nother topic of another day about items, but
yeah. That we'll
it
get
just
into that
gives
when we
it
think
gives everything.
it gives everything, like almost literally everything. It's so broken. Um, yeah. So I figure that will feature heavily in the Worlds meta, which is my fantastic segue since we're talking about Worlds to talk about World stuff. So, um, for people who have not been paying attention or don't pay attention until Worlds, it's starting soon-ish. So, like a week ago, they announced on lolesports.com, there's a whole article that goes through everything about who is qualified, when it is, where it is, what the different stages are. Like they laid out the whole thing like they do every year. So, I mean, in the essence of it, when is it happening? It starts. The play-ins start on October 10th, and then the finals are on November 19th. So it's a little over a month, and I feel like this is the longest like tournament that we'll have had, but I could be completely wrong on that. After the play-in stage, which is Tuesday, October 10th through Sunday, October 15th. And this is all in Korea, so a lot of this is in Korean Standard Time. Then there's the Swiss stage, and we'll explain what that is. And that is 10 p. It starts at Thursday, October 19th. There's a 4-day gap from the end of play-ins, and then that finishes on Sunday, October 29th. So that's a full 10 days of that. And then the knockout stage starts the next Thursday. So there's another 4-day gap or 3-day gap, and then it's November 2nd through November 19th. So, yeah. This definitely feels like it's going to be a long tournament. Like, do you remember them going this long historically?
I feel like it's pretty close to the same. I think it feels longer because of the Asia Games pushed it back a couple weeks of when it usually starts.
Sure.
So I think that's why it feels like it's a little bit later than usual.
Okay.
Because it's usually about a month, right?
I guess so. Maybe they normally have longer breaks between stages. That might be it. I
Yeah, I
don't.
think especially here lately, except for I guess NA they jumped around quite a bit too. They usually jump around a lot. So like but in South Korea, they're not really moving very far.
Yeah.
So there's not much travel time between the two. So maybe they don't have to take as much time in between getting people to places. So
Yeah, because the games are either in Seoul or in Busan, and I think that's like a 5-hour drive or a 4-hour drive.
yeah.
So, or like an hour plane ride, if that, or a train ride of a couple hours probably, since there's bullet trains and shit over there. So, yeah, that's a good point that they don't have travel time issues, which is going to be nice for the players that they don't have to be constantly switching time zones, even when they're already switching time zones to get there.
And they're also like when it's in Europe, sometimes they bounce around between countries,
Yeah.
and so then you have to go through customs and you have to move around people through different countries, and that becomes a tedious process. So
And
when
there
it's
can
all in one
be
country, I think it definitely makes it a little easier.
Yeah, and then there can be visa issues too in Europe, or when they did it I mean, last year there were visa issues, which is why it was no longer, and nothing happened in Canada, but then there was visa issues where some players couldn't play in planes in Mexico, but then were able to play in the
Yep.
States and all that. Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely like the idea of it being in one country a lot more. It's just a lot more solid and easier to deal with.
And I feel like this might be a little bit like rough to say, but I don't know, man. Korea just feels like the place to play
It
when they do these
does.
events. It just have you been watching the rebroadcasted events of Worlds on Twitch?
No, I haven't. I have watched a couple of Cadrill's videos watching some of those
Mm.
games, but I haven't watched
And
the
when
games
they're in
themselves.
Korea, it's just it's so electric, man. It's
Yeah.
just those people, they're like football fans in America when
Hmm.
it comes to esports, and it's just so much cooler.
Yeah. even though when it's in China, they still pack out the stadiums, and it's just got a different energy when it's in Korea than in China even.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yep. So, okay, so what are these different? We'll talk about the teams and stuff like that, but first, since there is a format change, it's our duty to explain the differences. So, the knockout stage is the same. Those are the best of fives, where it's down to 8 teams, 16 teams, and it's just best of fives. That's traditionally right after the group stage. So, knockout stage, no changes with that at all. There is the play-in stage now. So the play-in stage format, I believe, changed a bit too. So play-in stage is 8 teams have been drawn into 2 best-of-3 double elimination brackets. And the top team from each bracket will face off against the second place team from the other bracket in a final set of best-of-5 matches. And the winner of these matches will take their place in the Swiss stage. So previously, 4 teams would make it out of play-ins. Now it's only 2. Is what I'm taking away from this. And you have to either be first or second in your respective group and then win your best of 5. So there's no longer coming first in the play-ins group and then automatically getting a free ride right in. That doesn't happen anymore. And all of these matches are best of 3s, except for the final 2, which are best of 5. So there's no longer any single game matches in the play-in stage at all. So, I mean, before we get into anything else, what do you think about this play-in stage change? Because I love this.
I think it's much better. I think that best of ones prove absolutely nothing, and any team in the world can beat any team in the world in a one-game setting. So
Yeah.
when you do best of 3s / best of 5s, I mean, the cream rises to the top. So
Absolutely. Anyone can get outdrafted or get screwed over by some weird counter pick, or, just like have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the match and can't go and they feel off or something happening. Like, yeah, anything can happen in a single game. It's really hard for that to happen for 2 in a row if you're significantly worse than your opposition. It's going to
Yep.
normalize more likely. It can still happen. Like, you could still have upsets in best of 2 and best of 5s. You can still, or best of 3s and best of 5s. You can still have upsets, but a lot less likely. So we're probably going to see less of the minor region teams get through, is what I'm thinking is going to happen out of this. But it'll be overall a more entertaining spectator event, which is what they're going for, and I think what most people want.
I would agree.
Yeah. So, yep. Okay. And then in the Swiss stage, so this is new. Before there was, this is the revamped group stage, right? So, the 2 qualified play-in stage teams that we just talked about who got out will join the top 3 seeded teams from the LEC and LCS, as well as the top 4 from the LCK and LPL, and they'll be drawn into 4 pools of 1 seeds, 2 seeds, 3 seeds, and then 4 plus the play-in qualifiers are treated in that way. And then they'll be drawn into an initial set of 8 best-of-1 matches based on their seedings. Pool 1 teams will play Pool 4, and Pool 2 teams will play Pool 3 teams. No one will play a team from their own region in the first round. After that first round, there will be another draw for the second round to pair teams with the same record against one another, this time with no further draw restrictions. So that meaning that teams can play against teams from their own region. And this process will repeat for 3 more rounds, pitting teams with even records against each other until they reach 3 wins to advance or 3 losses to be eliminated. So if you win your first 3 matches, then you're through and you no longer play any games. You could go 2-2 and have to play 5 matches in total in the Swiss, though. So you play a minimum of 3, a max of 5 matches with this. And in total, 8 teams move on to knockouts. So the first 8 teams to get 3 wins move on to the knockouts. And then after that, we go into the best of 5s across the board. While the initial rounds are all best of 1, all advancement and elimination matches will be best of 3. So for the first 2 days, when nobody can even get to their third one, it's all best of 1s. And then any match which is a deciding to put one of those teams above or below will be a best of 3. and then side selection is determined by coin flip too. So, yeah, this is a lot of what people were asking for. It's still not, I think, what most of the community was envisioning because it's kind of complex, but I like it. What do you think about the Swiss stage?
I think it's the best way to do it in a short amount of time.
True. I know. Yeah, I get what you're saying because I heard a lot of criticism that it's not as good as Valorant, but Valorant tournaments take place over a much longer time span, and the way that the games are just fundamentally different too. So you can't necessarily do the best of threes and fives like they do in the same way.
Yeah, I think it's almost economically impossible for everything to be best ofs.
Yeah, it would take too long. And
Um,
yeah,
I think the only way you could do it is if you had an arena. You would have to do multiple arenas and do multiple matches at once. It would
Yeah.
be the only way you could actually do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because there's just not enough time in a day for everybody to play their best of matches. Because even if you went for 24 hours, right? Say you did a 24-hour event. For everybody to play a best of match, there's still not enough time.
Yeah, because it's about they have to plan for about 3 hours for each, basically for each individual game, and then that's multiplied by what 22 teams or something like it's. I mean, it's different because of different stages, but yeah, it's fucking impossible to do. There's literally not enough time, like you're saying.
Yeah. And then you start getting into the, well, let's say we do the 24 hours and we do it over multiple stages. Well, now you've done the 24 hours and now you have to take a 2-day break for everybody to rest, because you can't do a thing where a team that played Monday morning plays Tuesday night, or like how it flip flops, because then you're just screwing over sleep schedules and everything else.
Yeah.
So
Which are
I
already
think this
fucked up
is,
because people are traveling from all across the world.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think this is probably the best way to do it. I have a few reservations of the Swiss stage, but overall I'm happy with it.
The only changes I would make would be that first seeds from their region come in with one win automatically. That would be the only change I would make to this. But I agree basically with everything you said there.
I think the only reservation I have is that there are a lot of possibilities where, let's take Cloud9 for example.
Sure.
There is a world where Cloud9 plays Fnatic, and then they play Team Liquid, and then they play like G2 to get into the next stage.
Was Cloud9 a 1 seed?
They're a 2 seed.
Okay, 2. Gotcha. So they'll be playing a 3 seed in their first match, and then it changes, right? Okay.
Yeah. There's also a world where, say, KT Rolster has to play an LPL team, and then they have to play T1, and then they have to play another LPL team or Gen G to get to their final series.
Yeah.
So I think something that I would like to see in the future is get a cast of 50 people together that are in the league scene and have them vote on true like power rankings and then rank the teams that way instead of having first seed, second seed, third seeds, fourth seeds.
Okay. That's interesting.
And if you were to do it that way, you would make it to where people of their own region cannot vote on their own team's power rankings.
Sure.
They can only vote on other regions' power rankings.
Well, okay, so I like the idea of changing it up like that, but the people who are in their own region, yes, I understand they're going to be biased, but they're also going to be the ones that know the most about those teams going in, and with what.
Or maybe like make their vote not count as a full vote.
Yeah, maybe
Just
make
make
it like
something to where there's no bias involved. Because at the end of the day, somebody that's from the LEC will think that G2 is probably the 5th best team in the world because they have the capability of being the best team in the world based on past events, So,
Sure.
are they the 5th best team in the world? Probably not.
Probably not.
I think so, but that's because I'm a G2 fanboy and I
Sure.
think they're really good, but it's hard to take bias out of an equation.
Yeah.
Even if you try and think non-biased, it's human nature to be biased. So,
Yeah. So, and then on that same point, people are always going to undervalue NA teams, regardless of how good they actually are. Like, you could have a team that
yeah.
like, even if some NA team won MSI, and then they like perfect swept through summer and won, basically didn't lose a game, it'd still be hard for people to put them in like the top 8 or
Yeah.
so. They just
Yep.
wouldn't crack it because their region relative, like, most people think their region is crap compared to most other regions.
Yeah.
So it
So
goes
that's
both ways.
the only thing I would like to see in change if they did the Swiss stage in the future is power ranking the teams instead of doing seeded, because at the end of the day, I don't want to see a world where the LCK and the LPL are killing each other in the Swiss stage
Yeah.
and making it to where we don't see the actual best teams at the end.
Yeah. So I also agree that there should maybe be a change in the way that the teams are selected after the first round. Like, the first round is, I mean, I guess even changing that, but I would say that you probably should not be able to be selected against your own region for the first 2 matches to avoid that. And it, after the first day, uh, your I guess even including the first day, except for the point where you can't be drawn against your own team, your opponent is like, you just throw it all into a machine and like randomize it. So it's not like, I mean, some of this is randomized, but there's some rules on it. You basically throw out the record rules too. So if a team is 0-2, they could get thrown up against a 2-0 team, and sorry, that just fucking sucks for one of those teams then. Or maybe the 0-2 team pulls off a win, and then now they're 1-2 and they go through and play another team. Like, that's just, I think that would be the most entertaining. It might shorten the Swiss stage, but or maybe make it less fair at times. But I think it would be maybe the most dramatic. There'd be like it's the most objective way to set it up because it's truly randomized about who you're facing. That's what I would like to see in this. But I also like your idea of the power rankings. That didn't even occur to me at all when I was thinking about stuff.
Yeah, I just don't want to see JDG beating, LCK and LPL teams to where, they don't make it to the next round.
Sure. Yeah. The only caveat I would say with the randomized stuff is that no team should be able to play a team they've already played. That would be the only thing,
Yeah.
because you don't want to see that at all. Yeah. Okay. Well, the Swiss stage definitely looks like it'll be probably. I mean, usually some of the best games are in the group stage, so it'll probably be
It's
really
gonna
good.
be controlled chaos. I'm so excited,
Yes,
man.
it is.
It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
this format is so. Have you ever watched the TV show Billions? Okay, so it's on Paramount Plus. It's a Showtime original. Um, since like all the writers are on strike and everything, and not new media has been produced and coming out, so I've been having to cycle through like some less popular TV stuff. But Billions is very good. I would recommend it. In any case, there's this one character who at one point brings up, like, he tossed out a chaos grenade, and he like pulls the pin and throws it out and is like, bam. That's exactly what this Swiss stage is. It's a fucking chaos grenade.
yep.
That's
I'm
just
here
what I need to
for it.
think. Yeah, agreed. So, yep. And then the knockout stage, like I already said, it's best of fives for those final 8 teams. Those final 8 will be. Okay, so in this draw, teams that advanced with a 3-0 record from the Swiss stage will be matched against teams that advanced with a 3-2 record from the Swiss stage. I'm guessing. Oh, okay, and then the remaining teams will then be matched against one another. So anyone that's 3-1 will be matched against themselves. Um, or if there are more 3-2 teams that get through, then there are 3-0s, then those 3-2s will get thrown in with the 3-1s. So yeah, um, that's the whole shebang about the format. They do have a larger roster of approved co-streamers this year, and they're touting that. I remember last year it was pretty garbage, the selection that they had, or people didn't like it. But they have a larger selection this year, so um, yeah. Otherwise, if you want to see content from someone that does make it about Worlds that doesn't have co-streaming rights, they'll either do live viewing or it'll come out a day late, as it did last year. I'm not sure exactly about how that'll work legally with Riot, but I remember last year, like, LS didn't have it, and all his stuff came out a day late, as opposed to being live or on a delay of some sort. So, yeah. Okay, so should we talk about the most exciting part, the teams that made it in?
Yeah.
Okay, so some of this we knew when we've talked a few weeks ago, but I'll just run through the entire roster of teams, and then we can talk about what we think. So, China, first seed JDG, second seed BLG, third seed LNG, and fourth seed Weibo or WBG. From the LCK from Korea. First seed is Genji, second seed is T1, third seed is KT Rolster, fourth seed is D plus Kia or DK, formerly Damwon Gaming and then Damwon Kia when they've gone through a name change like every year seemingly.
D plus Kia Forte 2023.
LEC has G2 in the 1 seed, Fnatic in the 2 seed, and Mad Lions in the 3 seed. LCS has NRG in the 1st seed. That's a rebranded. What team was that before?
They were CLG.
Okay, CLG rebranded. Okay. Second seed is Cloud9, and third seed is Team Liquid Honda, TL. From the PCS of Southeast Asia, this is like Taiwan and the Philippines and Hong Kong, those sorts of places. First seed is.
As well as OS.
Oh, are they in that? Okay.
So Oceania was allowed to pick where they wanted to go to.
And they chose PCS.
But
Okay.
yep.
Interesting. Okay. Well, no OS team actually made it through qualifying into Worlds here, but the 2 seeds from that PCS and combined OS region are PSG Talon and then the Flying Oysters that were there last year. Then
The
Vietnam.
Flying Oysters.
I know. Vietnam has GAM Esports, yet again, always at the top. And then Team Wales. Never heard of them at all. CB LOL has Loud. Loud was there, I think, at MSI and at Worlds last year.
Yep.
And then LJL in Japan, it's Detonation Focus Me, as it has been for quite a while. And then the LLA, Movie Star Rainbow 7. They renamed themselves, but Rainbow 7. And I'm trying to think, who else came from LLA? It's been R7, but there's been a couple other teams that have come in. I don't remember who else.
I can't remember either.
Yeah. But Rainbow 7's been there a few times. So, yeah. And then the World Qualifying Series winner is to be determined on October 9th between the LCS's Golden Guardians and LEC's Team BDS. So I've seen that these were the teams here. I still don't quite understand what it means by qualifying series winner. Like, I get it. It's the 4th seed from each of those 2 regions are playing against each other to see who will get in. But why the 4th seed from those, like, why is that set up? Do you have any idea about why it's set up that way?
Because in the past, like LEC and LCS have like bounced back and forth between which one gets 4 seeds, and it's usually based on recent bias, like LEC G2 doing what they do at Worlds. And since G2 hasn't really gone as far as they have in the past, they've decided to switch it to this.
Okay.
And since Oceania isn't a region anymore, they need that one extra team.
Right.
And so that's how they do it now, is they're just going to have the 4 seeds from each region play each other to
Okay.
decide which one goes to play-ins.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Okay. I do think that it would suck for one of those teams to fly out to Korea and then October 9th, the day before the play-ins start, that they play and they lose and then they're out and then they have to fly home immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I wonder though. if you're either of those teams, even if you lose, you just stick around for a couple weeks, right? To just
I don't
practice.
think so. What I remember, I mean, maybe those teams will do that, but I know like Riot pays for some of their accommodations, but as soon as you're eliminated, like the next day, they maybe pay for one extra day, but then they will no longer pay for it. So the organizations would have to pick up the tab.
Yeah, that's true. I
So
guess it's up to
maybe
the
they
orgs
would.
whether they want to do it or not.
Yeah, and also depending on what's happening at the time where it is, hotel availability, they may not be able to reasonably.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure they
that's
will
true.
in Busan and Seoul. There's got to be a shitload of hotels because they're and like accommodation staying, but maybe not if they're in, like some American cities if there's like a football game going on at the same time. So, yeah. But okay, so I guess since we were just talking about it, who do you think is going to win between Golden Guardians and BDS?
I actually think that this is like the most even close series that I could think of
Really?
between two teams. Yeah, I really think that I think it's going to be a hard battle between the two.
Okay. Is it a best of 5, best of 3, do you know?
I think it's a best of 5,
Okay.
and I think it goes to 5.
Okay. I'm seeing if I can find out what it is.
But I will say that there is a higher chance that BDS 3-0s than there is of Golden Guardians 3-0ing,
That
in my
100%
opinion,
makes sense to me. Yeah.
because of one reason, and his name is Adam.
Yep. That's what I was just gonna say. If
And it,
Adam gets the picks that he can against if is Licorice is the top laner for Golden Guardian still,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
none of these guys have played against a dude like Adam.
Not
Like,
really at all.
even I'm gonna say this, and it might be a hot take, but Adam plays the game in such a way that not even Ben or 369 or any of them can like solo win a game like that dude can.
Yeah. Or solo lose, which does happen
Exactly.
sometimes. Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, I've
Yes.
seen VODs of like level 3, he's roaming mid lane on Olaf.
He'll
Like
go mid lane.
what are you doing?
Yep.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
so weird.
So if they don't do their homework on Adam, I think he's the X factor in the series for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree with that one. I'm gonna look at their rosters and see, but that makes sense. I also found out the World Qualifying Series is a best of 5, so that'll
Yep.
be sweet to
Yep.
watch.
I think it's shit. It's Adam, Crowny, Labrov is the bot lane. I think Nuke is the mid laner. Used to be Nuclear Int.
Oh, so
Then the
not Nuke
jungler.
Duck. Okay, got it.
No, Nuke Duck was the coach of Hundred Thieves.
Okay.
It used to be Nuclear Int. Now his name's just Nuke. And then the jungler, I want to say, is a uh, like Chinese jungler. But no, not Jun.
Let me see. I'm looking at their
What is
roster
his
right
name?
now. Okay, so it's Sheo for BDS.
Sheo. Yeah, that's right, Sheo. He's kind of trash, not gonna lie.
Yeah, he seemed fine. Yeah. He's French.
French. Well, I was way wrong.
So
Is the
BDS
name.
actually has a French coach and French mid, top, and jungle.
They're a French org.
That makes sense then. And then they have a Greek support and a Slovenian ADC.
Crowny and Labrov.
Yep. Okay. Yeah,
Golden Guardians is Licorice, and then River and Gory, Stixay, and Hui.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely think that also BDS has a decent step up in bot lane.
I will say that Crowny is better than
Stixay?
Stixay,
Yeah.
but Hui is much better than Labrov.
Okay. So it just depends on if Golden Guardians drafts in a way that gives Hui agency to do what he does.
Yeah. And then if we get the River and Gory of like regular season, Golden Guardians should cakewalk this. If we get the River and Gory of playoffs, they get 3-0'd.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't watch the playoffs at all, but I do know that I was surprised that they were the 4th seed because they came in first in the regular season, or they like stomped
They tied
most
for
of it.
first.
Okay, they were stomping for a while and they started to fall off a bit.
They tied for first. They played a tiebreaker and they lost to C9, so they got second.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, so that'll be a fun game for sure. And that is one day before the rest of it starts. So cool.
But I'm gonna go with BDS. I think BDS take it.
I agree. I think BDS does as well. I think it might actually be a 3-2. Depends
I
on
think
how
the most
well.
likely outcome is 5 games.
Yeah, agreed. But after that, it's a 3-0 by BDS.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yep. Okay, so other teams in the play-in stage, like we see some of them. It's Loud. We have GAM. We have Rainbow Seven, PSG, Detonation Focus Me, the Oysters, and Team Wales, and then obviously one more team that between BDS and Golden Guardians. We're not gonna do like full predictions because we'll do that later on. But any team stand out here as like anything standouts that you think will go through or that people should pay attention to for sure?
I like Loud.
Why do you like Loud?
They showed a lot in MSI. They went toe to toe with a lot of teams,
They
and
did.
they stood there. They stood their ground against NA teams too, which not a lot of minor regions do. And I also just like the swag that team has.
Yeah, all the Brazilian teams come in thinking like
What's
they
that
got
80 carries name? I can't. Oh, what is?
eh,
It's
well, so they have Root, but that's not who you're talking about.
no.
It's
What
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, the Draven
that
guy.
dude is? That dude is such a Chad, man.
Uh uh I'm gonna see if I can find him. BRTT.
Yes,
I
BRTT. I like
googled
that dude.
Brazilian Draven player, and he's the second thing that came up after a
Yeah.
Reddit post about Brazilian pro player tattoos Draven axes in his arms, which is still BRTT.
Yep. And then something that not a lot of people know, Detonation Focus Me's 80 carry Utapon is now their top laner.
Oh, I see that. What happened to not Steel?
Evie is on an LEC team.
Right, that's what happened. Okay. Yeah, he's on what team is he on?
He's on Heretics.
Okay. That's it. He did well when I was watching some of the stuff in LEC. He's done pretty well there.
He was very up and down. He either had really good games or really, really, really bad games.
Okay. I watched a lot more towards the beginning, and he
was good in the beginning.
He was very good in the beginning, and mostly because he was the best that I saw in the West at abusing Cassante.
Yep, that's just what I was about to say. If he was
Yeah.
playing Cassante, he looked pretty good. If he was playing anything else,
It was not great.
was
Yeah.
not good.
Yep.
And then another notable PSG talent has Maplebeck, their mid laner again.
Okay. They have a large roster. Jeez.
Yeah. I think Dago is their ADC still.
No, it's Waco. Waco.
Where did Dago go?
I think Doggo's on the he's not on the Oysters. Oh, he went to LPL, I believe.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, he did go to one of the Asian teams. That's right.
He plays for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, that's LPL team.
Yep. Where did they finish? They any good? Probably not.
Like dead last, I think.
That's actually not okay. Maybe their bot lane is okay. Okay, maybe Doggo's just the only good player on that team. Never mind. I'm looking at it. It's like I've never heard of Harry up top. Ning is washed up and not good anymore.
He still plays.
Yeah, dude, he was their starting jungler, the only one on the roster too. And then Sword Art in support, who is like whatever, and Dream in mid lane, who I've never heard of. Yeah. So.
Nope, that's about it for the play-ins. I like Loud. They could completely bomb. It's play-ins. It's kind of a crapshoot, but it's Brazil, man. They're NA South. I gotta rep my boys.
Yeah. Yep. If I'm just looking around at some of the rosters, like some of these players I don't remember, but R7 seems like they have a a decent roster still. Like they could do something, and then Team Wales. I love that name.
Yeah.
They have. I don't recognize anyone except for their jungler, but Bean J. I remember he was on the Buffaloes or maybe the other team that they sent last year, and he was good. He's been good for a while.
Yeah, I wish the Buffaloes made it back because I like Shogun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they didn't. And I think the Oysters have most of their same team. Except maybe their mid laner's different. I don't remember who it was, but I remember Rest was there before, as was Gemini and Shun and Xiaoxi. But I don't remember this Jimmy N person.
Me neither.
Yeah, so. Yep. I will say that whoever gets through of Guardians and BDS has a solid chance of getting through.
They
I'd
sh-
say they should
They
probably.
should. If they don't, it's an absolute failure.
Yeah, probably. I think that both of whichever team gets through, they will at least make it to that best of 5 match. They may not win that depending on who they're facing and
Yeah.
what their form is and what the meta shakes out to be, but yeah. So, okay. And then we'll see who gets through on that, but of the Swiss stage, all the best teams are here, but is there any narratives that you're looking forward to seeing or any teams that you hope play each other or any teams you hope don't play each other?
I hope Billy and JD Gaming play each other because I want BLG to finally conquer their demons and beat JDG in a best of 3 scenario.
Okay,
They're
but
like 0-11, man. It's just
I don't think that's going to happen just because JDG is probably going to win the whole thing. I don't think so I don't know if they'll
yeah,
lose any series at all.
yeah. I honestly think I don't know. I think it's going to be an LPL team that wins, personally. And
There's no way it's LNG because they just got hot at the right time and they're probably worse than the other
Yeah.
3.
and it's probably JDG. I mean, they have the best. They have number 1 in each role, in my opinion. Except maybe support.
I was going to say, you
Support
could
they probably don't have
argue
number 1.
Missing is not number 1, but he's obviously up near the top of the role.
He's definitely top 5, but I wouldn't
Yes.
say he's number 1. So
Yeah, I would
And then-
personally prefer to have On from BLG to Missing.
I would too. On is my favorite player.
Okay. I also think
Next-
that
And
yeah,
Elk. I love Elk, man.
Sure. Elk
Dude
is
is a
very
psychopath.
He's crazy good. I'll say that except for D+, I think I'd prefer any of the support from the other 3 LCK teams as well over Missing. Of Delight or Lehens or Carrier.
I would probably take Carrier or Lehens.
Yeah, Delight is if he gets Rakan, then it's absurd. But if
Yeah.
he doesn't get Rakan, it does definitely depend on what he's on.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And then, I'm going to ride this pony, man. G2. They're making it out. I'm saying it now. And I know
I think they
it's
probably
probably
will.
biased, but I really think this team is very close to their 2019 selves. And probably better, in my opinion, because Yike has a much wider champion pool than Jankos.
Yeah. And he feels like he has more of a presence than Jankos did. Not that Jankos wasn't a good player. He definitely was, and still is because he's playing on Heretics still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's still a good player. It's just that I don't know what it is. I don't feel his presence when I'm watching a game.
Because back then, Jankos, his nickname was the First Blood King. He literally had a First Blood in every single game in 2019. He was a part of every single First Blood in 2019. That whole year. Every time there was a First Blood, Jankos was a part of it. It was actually insane.
That's crazy.
And so the difference between him and Yike is if Jankos did not get that First Blood, he was useless.
Sure.
He couldn't find a way to push that advantage further into the map. He didn't necessarily always get the kill, but he was always a part of the First Blood, which just, for whatever reason, got his brain flowing in a whole different way. Yike is different in the fact that he can play a tree and just permagank his lanes, or he can play fucking Belveth and just solo carry the game.
Yeah, or he can play Kha'Zix and do nothing for 25 minutes and then get a triple kill from a good flank.
Yeah. And then I also think Broken Blade is the only top laner in the West that can go even with any of the top laners in the East.
Other than if Adam plays out of his mind like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but reliably, I definitely agree with you. Reliably.
And then Caps, I mean, he turned into Collapse towards the end of the season, which was I was about to start shorting my G2 stock because Caps was playing quite poor,
Hmm.
but then he kind of flipped the switch and decided to be who we all know Caps is.
Sure.
And then at the end of the day, Hans Sama is the best AD carry that's not
Korean or Chinese.
Berserker. Yeah.
Sure.
And Mickey just does his job very well.
Yep, he does. And he has a very wide champion pool.
And at the end of the day, he can just pick Braum.
Yep. And Braum is in a great spot right now in the game.
Yeah, he
so
is. I think we can talk about some meta stuff if you want after we go through the teams, but I mean, I think LCS is doomed. I don't think there's a single team that shows enough.
Nah.
The only thing that would have got me into a point to where I thought LCS could do anything is if Cloud9 just destroyed everybody, but they didn't. And NRG's players are so streaky that I just don't have any faith in them beating an LPL team.
Yeah, for sure. I also feel like LCS reliably, we've heard over years, they, as a region coming to Worlds, they almost have a sense of defeatism in them, and
Yeah.
they have the worst mental going in. It's emblematic of solo queue mental is the easiest way that I can put it.
It happens every year, man. They'll go 0-3 and then they'll get into their last game match against one of the best teams in the
And
world
they'll
and
play
they'll
very
fucking
well.
destroy them,
Yep.
dude. It's like as soon as the weight of the world is lifted off their shoulders, they just like become the best teams in the world. And
Exactly.
It's so frustrating.
It's ridiculous, yeah, because it would be cool to see, like, even if me, as not an LCS fan, I would love to see one of them, like, make it to semis. That would be so cool. That would be, it's a bigger underdog story than the DRX narrative that happened last year. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the rosters and nothing excites me all that much.
Berserker is the only thing that excites you.
Yeah, Berserker does, and I bet Sven is very good at playing Melio, and that's all he probably has to do. Melio and Lulu and other enchanters, because he's kind of crap on non-enchanters from what I've seen. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we could talk about meta stuff. I think it's wiser to leave that for after next week once the Worlds patch is revealed, like fully with the notes and locked in.
Yeah.
Just so
probably.
we don't start talking about stuff that's changed. Because I mean, we know we know like the champions and the systems that are being changed. We don't know the numbers or anything like that, and we don't know how it'll actually feel. So, I just don't know if it's that warranted of a discussion. Yeah. But I'm excited to do pick'ems again and stuff like that. I hope that'll open soon. It'll probably open during play-ins, actually, or like maybe a week or so before. Let me see. When do pick'ems start? When do pick'ems open? No idea. If you go to Lolly Sports, it says pick'ems 22 is closed. See you next year. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. The only thing is that I wish that it ended a couple days earlier because I will be in Denmark visiting my sister while I fly there on the 17th and 18th of November, so I'll have to catch like a replay of it because I'm not going to watch it live then, but it would be sweet to be able to do it right before leaving because then I could just go with a clean slate there. But yeah, I'm psyched to see all of this.
I have one thing that I hope they do again, and I hope they do the local movie theaters showings for the finals.
Yes, I hope they do
I
as
missed
well.
out on that last year, and I didn't do it, and I had an opportunity, and I really wish I would have. And this year, if it happens, I'm fucking going.
Yeah, I'll see. Let me see if it's happening again. I bet it will, because I bet it was I don't know, but I think it was a big success.
I heard nothing but good things about it.
I went and I loved it. I can't speak for other people, but
yeah.
yeah.
I think it would. Like I said, I really am kicking myself for not doing it, and I should have. And it's gonna happen this year if it's around. I'm going.
Yeah. If I wasn't in Denmark, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to do it for semis or anything like that. But yeah, I didn't start seeing anything until
It was pretty close to the end when they
yeah,
started announcing it.
it was. I saw it. Yeah, sometime around like beginning of October, maybe mid
Yeah.
October when I saw it. So I'm sure they'll announce it again. But I think I didn't even discover it through their website last year. I Googled like how much would it cost to rent out a theater and then saw theater events something because
Yeah.
I just wanted to do it for myself. I thought that would have been fun, but
Yeah.
there was events.
Yeah, they did it at, like an IMAX up in the city with like the panoramic things and all that. I think that'd just be so fucking cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. Plus, you like, I mean, bring some food in. I smuggled in some food in my pants and stuff, and then, but then you just get like you get a medium soda or like a small soda, and then in between every game or between stuff, you just walk out and fill it up and go walk back in as much as you want.
Yep. Yep.
As opposed to paying for the giant one and then like, nah, I don't need to pay an extra $5. I just get free refills of this shit. Yeah, I will say
But
if you do it though, bring a blanket because the theater I was in, I got really cold towards later on in the night because they're blasting the AC, and my theater was, I'd say, 20% full, 25%, so there wasn't anywhere near as many people like breathing that would bring up the temp. Just be prepared for
damn
that.
mouth breathers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Heating up the fucking rooms.
it would have been nice. Although my seat did have a heat warmer in it.
Damn, you went to a fucking Bentley.
It was bougie. I went to the wealthy suburbs of the city I lived in at the time. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yep. But all right. Well, I guess we'll call it here then. This has been episode number 824. If you have any feedback for us, please leave it via the feedback thread of the Discord, or send us an email at questions@TrinityForcePodcast or TrinityForceNetwork.com. We also have a Patreon, so please check that out if you want to see the benefits that we offer and potentially sign up for some of those. Lastly, we have community nights that start at 7:15 Eastern time and run for, I think yesterday it ran for like 5 hours, so it was great. And it was a great time. We had a lot of customs going, always a lot of fun. So please join us if you're interested in that, or if you just want to watch us, then you can watch it on Twitch when I stream it most of the weeks. So yeah, with that, this has been episode number 824, and we will see you all next time.
Peace.